We'd like to get started. Thank you. Sorry for the delay. Some of us had the pleasure of spending some time with members of the PTO at Saddle Rock School and with Ms. Goldberg and Ms. Bradley, and have also been here for some time in exec session. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you for being here. The first item on tonight's agenda is the approval of minutes from the December 14th and December 20th meetings. Is there a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. The next item is 4A. There actually were no communications to the board, so there's nothing to vote on. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Prendergast.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. I just wanted to take note before we begin my remarks. On our agenda tonight in the personnel section, the board will be accepting the retirements of several of our esteemed colleagues, teachers, and staff members, as well as one SAGES administrator, Samantha Tarantola, who is the Director of Community Education. I wanted to take this opportunity to wish our colleagues many years of health and happiness into their retirement, and we look forward to recognizing each of them later on in the school year when it's appropriate. South High School had 3 students named as a 2023 Regeneron Science Talent Search Scholars. Dana Kagan, Amit Sanha, and Amber Sun are among 300 students to achieve this honor in one of the nation's most prestigious science competitions. The talent search, it's really quite remarkable. This talent search, for those of you who don't know, began in 1942. It's the nation's oldest and often considered the most prestigious science and math competition for high school seniors. So our students are going to be a group of 300 scholars who are going to be considered for finalists, and at the national competition, their advancement will be announced next week. Our scholars are among, like I said, 300 semifinalists. We're going to keep our fingers crossed and offer them the best. We're so very proud of them. And each of those scholars will receive a $2,000 scholarship with a matching amount for their schools. And congratulations are extended to South High School science research teachers and advisors, Nicole Spinelli and Dr. James Truglio. The Great Neck Public Schools was well represented at the 2023 All-County Music Festival. The All-County Ensembles includes 124 Great Neck Public School musicians from grades 5 through 12 from across the district in each of our schools. Our musicians were selected by a committee of music teachers from throughout Nassau County, and our students were joined with fellow musicians from the county for rehearsals and to participate in a concert at Tillis Center. So again, so nice to see Great Neck represented from a county-wide perspective, and congratulations to all of our participants and their music educators. Our community is also reminded that the 2023-24 kindergarten online application for public and private schools opened on January 17th, that was yesterday, and remains open throughout the year. So all parents of eligible students are encouraged to register their children during this period of time when the window is open. Students must be 5 years of age on or before December 1st. That's without exception. And all of our students who are currently enrolled in the universal pre-K programs at Parkville, Kennedy, or even in our Great Neck Community School do not need to re-register. We already have their registrations in our system. And I do want to also take this opportunity to acknowledge Colleen Bowler. Colleen Bowler is our district public information specialist, and she works tirelessly with regards to supporting all of our social media applications. And we are delighted. I hope many of you had an opportunity to receive our brand-new e-newsletter, which will be focusing on district accomplishments and to provide additional information to our parents and staff. This inaugural newsletter was shared with our community today. We received an outstanding response in terms of readership, and we're very excited to yet use this forum as one more way in which to keep our community engaged in some of the great opportunities and experiences that are being showcased in our district. And of course, I've said this before, please be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram so you can be kept apprised of all of the wonderful things that our students are experiencing here in our district. Thank you very much, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Prendergast. The next item on the agenda is item 6, Board and Administrative Affairs. Is there a motion to accept items 6A through D, donations to the district?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you to the donors. The next item on the agenda is item 6E, which is the anticipated calendar for next year. Is there a motion to accept next year's calendar?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That also carries. The next item on the agenda is item 6F, which is a memorandum of agreement with the GNTA. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The motion carries. The next item on the items on the agenda are matters of policy, items 6G through Q. Ms. Perez is the chair of the policy committee, and Mr. Shi serves on the committee along with members of the administration, including Dr. Prendergast. Ms. Perez.
Good evening. We have a very large amount of policies this evening. I apologize, and we'll try to get through them as quickly as possible. As you know, we have been going through all of our policies and trying to bring them up to date and revamp them, and so there's been a lot of time spent on them and an equal amount of time in reading them to you for acceptance. The first 7 policies are being read for the first time for a first reading with no action anticipated. Policy 5110 is a revision on school attendance areas, and it is being presented to you for first reading. The revision addresses modification of the process by which a student may remain in the district school of current attendance following a relocation to a place of residency that is zoned for a different district school. In addition, policy language governing the continued attendance of students who have moved out of the district has been deleted and is proposed to be incorporated into Policy 5150, School Admissions, which currently is being proposed for revision. This revised policy is being submitted for a first reading to all of you. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? In that case, do I hear, in that case, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Policy 5140 is a deletion. New student eligibility is on for a first reading. The policy, first adopted in 1988, is proposed to be incorporated into Policy 5150, School Admissions, which currently is being presented for revision. This deleted policy is being submitted for a first reading. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions? In that case, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Policy 5150, also a revision, school admissions, first reading. The revision specifies the legal age of admission for both pre-kindergarten and kindergarten students and updates other requirements necessary for a student to be admitted to the Great Neck Public Schools, including examples of acceptable proof of residency. In addition, it incorporates information pertaining to the continued attendance of students who may have moved out of the district from existing Policy 5110, school attendance areas, which concurrently is being proposed for revision, along with information from existing Policy 5140, new student eligibility for admission, which concurrently is being proposed for deletion. This revised policy will become effective beginning July 1st, 2023, and is being submitted for a first reading. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Policy 6010 is a new policy about the fiscal controls. This is a first reading. This policy codifies in policy format the existing general fiscal roles and responsibilities of entities and individuals within the district. It is being submitted for a first reading. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Policy 6640 is a revision, asset accounting and inventory, a first reading. The revision identifies the existing district policies of adherence to the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or known as GADSB. Statement 34 regulations and its compliance with regulations regarding equipment acquired through federal grants. It also includes a detailed description of information to be included in inventory records and specific monetary thresholds for the capitalization of assets. In addition, it is proposed that the policy be renamed Fixed Asset Accounting and Inventory. This policy is being submitted for a first reading. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Policy 6670 is also a revision. The name is Petty Cash Funds. It is being submitted for first reading. The revision addresses the establishment of guidelines for the administration of these funds, designates the Assistant Superintendent for Business as having responsibility for the overall administration of such funds, and codifies the existing procedures for reimbursement of expenditures from the funds. It is also proposed that the policy title be amended to Petty Cash Funds / Petty Cash Accounts. This revised policy is being submitted for a first reading. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. The motion passes. Those are the policies for a first reading. Policies, there are 3 policies for a second reading, and with no, I'm sorry.
6,800.
Back.
I'm sorry. Also, policy 6800, which is a new policy, payroll procedures with a first reading. This policy codifies in policy format existing district practice for safe oversight and administration of the district payroll. It is being submitted for a first reading. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you very much. Okay, now for those for a second reading. There are 3 policies being submitted for a second reading tonight. The first one is a revision, Policy 6150, Budget Transfers. The revision expands the scope of the policy, providing guidance regarding categories of budget transfers that require only notification to the Board of Education, and the establishment of a $50,000 budget transfer threshold that requires prior Board of Education approval. There have been no changes since its first reading on December 14, 2022. This revision is being submitted for a second reading. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Policy 6410, also a revision, authorization for single signature checks. This revision addresses the inclusion of specific guidance that identifies the individual's authorization to sign district checks and allows payment in advance of audit of claims for all payroll, workers' compensation, public utility services, postage, freight, and express charges in accordance with law. In addition, it is proposed to incorporate language from existing policy 6710, formal contracts, which concurrently is being presented for deletion. It is also recommended that the policy be amended to read authorized signatures. There have been no changes since its first reading on December 14th, 2022, and this revised policy is being submitted for a second reading. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Policy 6710 for deletion, called formal contracts. The elements of the policy are proposed to be incorporated into revised policy 6410, authorized signatures, which concurrently is being proposed for adoption. The deleted policy is being submitted for a second reading. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I just need to make a comment that the reason we are going through all of this is to clean up the language and the procedures in all of these policies, some of which have not been addressed for 20 years. So I understand that it is a little bit difficult to sit through it, but the next group of 7 policies, you're going to be very happy about this, are being submitted for a third reading. There have been no changes since the last meeting, and they are presented for adoption this evening. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
All, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That is the end of my report, and thank you to the Policy Committee for their hard work.
Thank you,
Aren't there
Mrs.
9
Perez.
policies? Aren't there 9 policies, not 7?
Is it 9?
It's 9.
Well, then there are 2 more.
Okay.
There are 2 more policies submitted for a third reading. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
All those, second?
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Perez, and thank you to the members of the Policy Committee. The next items on the agenda, I think we can do by consent. So is there a motion in favor of items 7A through P?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That carries. The next items are items 8A and B, and 9A through G. Is there a motion in favor of items 8A and B and 9A through G?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That also carries. Next, we have items 10A through G. Is there a motion in favor of 10A through G?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I, too, would like to just echo the feeling, but of course, we will acknowledge everyone who has indicated their desire to retire later in the school year, but thank you. Thank you for your time here, and we will acknowledge that later in the school year. We are now up to item 11, which is open time. So far, there are 4 yellow cards. So Ms. McShane is actually out tonight. We have with us Ms. Langell, wave, there she is. And if anybody else would also like to submit a yellow card, please feel free to do so. Before we begin open time, just a couple of reminders. We try to keep the same amount of time for everyone. It's only fair. The board wants to hear from anyone who wishes to address us. We'd like to be fair and hear from anyone from any stakeholder group. At our last meeting, the timer wasn't working, and it just happened that that was the case, and so some of the speakers actually went over time. We're going to try to keep to time whenever possible. In addition, we have a policy, and we try to abide by respecting people's privacy. So to the extent that anyone wishes to address us, and of course we want to hear, we can't really engage in dialogue about students or about personnel. And so I would ask in advance of anyone who's going to address the board in public to please be mindful of that and not violate others' privacy. And I will now call up some of the people who have decided to submit cards. So the first card is from Juliet Atut.
Hi, everyone. To those of you that don't know me, my name is Jules Adut, and I'm a senior at Great Neck North. And to those of you that do know me, you know how much effort and time I've been putting in to get my teacher back in our school. I don't know if I can say his name, but you all know who it is. So being fortunate enough to have had him in AP Bio last year, and even luckier to have him again for AP Enviro this year, I've truly had the opportunity to not only bond with him myself, but to also bond with my classmates in the familial environment he created. His unique teaching style is what makes him so special, and it would be truly upsetting to hinder his current year students from getting the whole experience that I did. My feelings are reciprocated by hundreds of students, which you saw through the email chain I initiated, and even just through the amount of people that showed up tonight. His current students, former students, alumni, and even students who solely know him from short hallway interactions know how special of a teacher and person he is. Younger students from his AP Biology class and Chemistry class have been reaching out to me with concerns, as well as in my own AP Enviro class. Everyone misses him, everyone worries about their education, and we all come to school clinging on to a diminishing level of hope that he'll be sitting at the desk when we walk into the room. Undergoing teacher switches takes a mental toll on students because it's very difficult to adjust to new teaching styles. In AP classes, in particular, it is difficult, and students, especially those who are applying to college next year or needs their credits to transfer, are also worried about their grades after being taught by teachers who have never taught an AP level class before in that subject. Of course, the teachers that are replacing him are amazing, but him being an AP teacher for years gives him the advantage of knowing the curriculum very well and knowing the best ways to prepare his students. And it's no shock that his bio class has had the highest AP test score averages ever last year. At least in my class, I see it firsthand. Many people have lost their motivation to pay attention to what we are learning because of the situation we are in, because we're ready to switch teachers twice. In an AP class, it is imperative for students to know everything that's going on in order to do well in the final exam. And I strongly believe that without him, we will perform far worse at the end of the year. Since his absence, our understanding of the curriculum has decreased, as well as our test averages. We've gotten accustomed to his unique teaching style, and it's hard to constantly need to readjust to a new style. Bringing him back will not only increase our happiness and motivation, but also our test scores and understanding. Additionally, it is absolutely unfair and lacking that our parents were not notified that our teacher was going to be out for an extended period of time, or notification of who will be teaching the class while he's not there. Not all students communicate with their parents about what's going on in class, and not telling them about this change is a huge miss for our district. We're always taught to communicate, and the opposite is being modeled here. Parents were left in the dark, thinking that all was well while it wasn't. I respect confidentiality, but keeping this confidential was not right for our parents. In summary, I look forward to seeing my teacher back behind his desk ASAP, reinstating a sense of normalcy and filling the void that's been empty for the past month. Nothing is the same without him. His shoes are not able to be filled, and his teaching style cannot be replicated. Please consider this as it's not coming just from me, but from hundreds and hundreds of students. It would be a huge loss and mistake for our district to not bring him back. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet. And so for the rest of the speakers, there's a yellow light that goes on when there's like a 30-second thing, and then there's a grace period, and then there's a red light, and that's technically the end of the time, and just letting you know. The next person who submitted a card is Catherine Tang.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Tang. I'm currently also a senior at Great Neck North High, and just like Jules, I'll be speaking about one of my teachers. I'm lucky enough to say that I had him as a teacher and club advisor since I was a sophomore, and not by chance, but rather by choice. Following my first year with him in AP Chemistry, I went to my guidance counselor, pleading with her to ensure that I would be in his AP Biology class as a junior. And just this past summer, I changed my schedule 3 times just to ensure a spot in his AP Environmental Science class. Creating a close community within his classrooms, he is always there to guide his students, but never to spoon feed them. Once I realized that he likes pushing his students to fall in love with not only the victories and learnings, but also the struggles, I took the 40% that I scored on his first test, not as an ending, but as a start. I gained great passion for science sitting in his classrooms, but I also gained a great independence, the determination to speak up and advocate for myself, along with the motivation to push beyond the limits of my capabilities. Being in his class will always be one of the most impactful experiences of high school for me. And I can genuinely say that he has helped me to shape me not only into a better person, but also into a more confident and outgoing peer to my classmates. I understand the severity of the issue at hand, and I understand that it is not a simple decision to make. But we are all here tonight to show you how dedicated we are to advocating for his return. Since he has left, the motivation and excitement within our classroom has disappeared. Our class is now significantly behind in the curriculum as compared to every other AP environmental science class, and our parents have been completely left in the dark throughout this entire process. We are looking for transparency. We have not forgotten about him, and nothing is the same without him. So I implore you to see how important it is to each and every one of his students that we will be able to see him back in our classrooms as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. The next speaker is Mia Carrillo.
Good afternoon, members of the board. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so sorry for that. As Juliet and Catherine both stated, I'm here to talk about one of my environmental science teachers this year. But I will not be speaking exactly on the impact he has had, although he has had a major impact as seen by the chain emails that I'm sure you have all received with over 30 students on that email. Even sitting behind me, you see a large group of students trying to represent their support for him. Instead, I am here to focus on a separate point, transparency, a word that goes hand in hand with accountability. I understand that this is a matter in which, even for legal reasons, all details cannot be shared. However, all of his students have been left completely shut out. When we first walked into class with a substitute in place of Mr. Appel, we all thought it would be a temporary matter. And after all, we were left with busy work to do with a substitute in place of him. We focused less and less as our new teacher taught, but then a week went by. Then, as fast as he was suspended, we had a test. The average of that test was in the low 70s. Kids lost all motivation with no end in sight. But then our new teacher came in, and in a complete turn of events, she told us that we would yet again be changing teachers. As I am sure you all are too well aware, she stated that we would have a new teacher, our third one of the year. Currently, we are at subunit 10 out of 17 in Unit 5. To put that into perspective, all other classes have already been finished with Unit 5, have been tested on it, and have since moved on to Unit 6. In order to finish, our midterms are in the coming week, and we probably will not even be finished with Unit 5 by then. Meanwhile, all classes will be tested on Unit 5 and parts of Unit 6. I understand again that for matters of legality, you will not be able to disclose all information. However, if you were to ask my parents how my science class is going, they would tell you that it is going fine, that I'm still with my original teacher. My parents have been left completely in the dark, and that is not fair at all. In order for us to hold anyone accountable, whether it is teacher, whether it is a board, our principal, our superintendent even, we would need to know some certain criteria of the situation. Without any precedent to follow, we would not know what the procedure would be or what the coming events are. We were left completely shut out and have no idea of what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia. The next speaker is Abigail Nassimi.
Hi, my name is Abby Nassimi, and I'm a senior at North High. I'm not here to convince you whether or not you should bring my teacher back, but rather to give you a perspective from the student for you to make the best decision for everyone. I couldn't imagine high school without having him as a teacher. The summer before my junior year was when I first found out that I would have him as a teacher for AP Biology. And I still remember hearing from most students that I may not enjoy his class, that it was too hard, and that he would teach it differently than other teachers, and that I would fall behind. But I love a good challenge. At first, his teaching methods were somewhat untraditional, but I and the other students in our class decided that we needed to place our trust in our teacher and that it would turn out for the best. I definitely didn't trust him early on. I remember the other students in our class saying, "Trust the process," but that was hard, and I tried. We eventually created what felt like a family in our classroom, and I felt excited each day to come to school because of this class. Days that I had doctor's appointments or something else that would cause me to skip school, I used to purposefully schedule those around his class. I would fight to go back to school just so that I wouldn't miss his class. That's how much I enjoyed it. People I had classes with in the past and I had never really been friends with before were my friends when we were in his class. That was the environment that he fostered in his classroom. The environment that all of his students get to learn and enjoy their time in every day is unlike any other class I've ever been in. I believe I speak for everyone when I say this. We are extremely grateful that we have the opportunity to learn with this teacher. Not only did we get to learn exciting material that for many people might not have been exciting if taught in another classroom, but we got to talk about things that were important to us, making us feel comfortable to speak in class. Kids that I had been in classes with through both middle school and high school that I never heard speak before wanted to be and were more than outspoken in his classroom. And this is the reason that people want to join the discussion. I pushed to have this teacher, since I had him for AP Biology, for my AP Science class that I would take my senior year. But unfortunately, he got switched out of his sections. Classes that he taught for 15 years, he was unable to teach this year. And while he was upset about the decision and wanted to change this, he still accepted the school's decision gracefully and decided to teach other classes as well as he had that class. While he was in school, I would go to him almost every day and tell him how much I missed his class and how much I wished to have him again. I trusted the teacher's process and methods and helped me love science more than I ever had before, as well as excel in a class that I may not have without him. In the fall, I'll be going to college and studying neuroscience. I wholeheartedly believe that his class is one of the things that made me love science and be so passionate about it. It is a privilege that one of my college recommendations come from him, and I had been able to learn under him. I've had some of my most memorable high school experiences with him, and I hope that everybody will be able to see the impact that he has had. And I wrote this whole speech, and obviously I mean everything I say, but I just want to be able to show everyone how influential this teacher has been to me and to everybody behind me, because we all need him back. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Is there anyone else who wanted to address the board during open time? Okay. The next item on the agenda is board discussion. I just wanted to say something myself, and then of course if anyone else had anything to say. There was a period of time during the pandemic that I was thinking on while I was listening to some of the speakers tonight. During that period of time, my children would listen to me on Zoom meetings of the board, and all they would hear, because I had my AirPods in, all they would hear me say is "so moved." They thought that all that a board does is, they thought my whole role in life on this board was to just say "so moved." And that was pretty much their takeaway of what a board does. I want to assure you that we are actually listening to you and to everyone else who addresses the board during open time. And I know that it's very frustrating when people feel unheard. But you are heard, it's just that we are not at liberty to speak on certain issues, including the one that you raised. So I'm just putting that out there as one trustee. The other thing I wanted to say is that it's almost Lunar New Year. And I wanted to wish everyone who observes Lunar New Year a happy Lunar New Year. Is there anything that anyone else would like to say?
Yes, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to enter into an executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of history of a particular person. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I second. Board discussion? Okay. Yep, so maybe you'll make the motion again. Go right ahead.
First, I want to just echo what you said. We absolutely hear you, both what was spoken tonight and through the various emails that we received over the last few weeks. And I would express the same sentiments that I appreciate the frustration you might feel because we are unable to say anything. But I just want to let you know that I also, and we also hear you loud and clear. And second, I would just add that last night I had the privilege to attend a SEPTA presentation at the Great Neck Public Library. It was a privilege to participate, not really just as a Board of Education member, but as a parent. And parents in the school district should just be aware of the breadth of resources that are available, not just AP, biology, chemistry, environmental science, but also for students with special education needs. And I want to thank everybody from SEPTA who put on that presentation. It was, again, it was a privilege to participate both as a board member and as a parent. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Grant. Anyone else? Okay. Is there still a motion to be made?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing a employment history of a particular person. Do
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Okay.
So we're going to go back into executive session, and it is possible that we will return to public at some point later in the evening. But for now, good night. Thank you very much for attending.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, everyone.